signal now for when I'm needed. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning. To them.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the Gotham Chronicles Beyond the Bat Signal. I'm your host, Domenic. Join me as we dive into the depths of Batman's lore, dissecting the rogues gallery, and uncovering the stories of our iconic vigilante known as the Dark Knight. Thank you to each of you who have been tuning in and are tuning in. We got a doozy today as my heater just turns on right now. Great timing. And we're going to be talking about none other than Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue number 3. And this issue is written by none other than Jeph Loeb. And with the revolving door of incredible artists, we have Mark Chiarello stepping in and doing a masterful job, in my opinion, as the artist, and the lettering and design by Richard Starkings. So we got quite the all-star lineup that is just going in today. So let's get right into The Last Halloween issue number 3, where I will give my overall thoughts right at the end and just add a simple letter grade. I'm not going to shy away from saying that I actually thought that this one was probably the best thus far. So we're introduced where there is the first panel is of Riddler, and there's puzzles everywhere, with his bowler hat and his long sideburns, and I feel like this is like a nice little nod. There's actually quite a few nods in here, but one is to Tim Sale, which has it in big letters that just says Sale Jigsaw Puzzles. And then there's a guy who's in what looks like the Adam West Batman cowl, mask, and has a gun pointed directly to the Riddler. And right away that these mob guys, it seems like it's like a reoccurring theme, right? Like it looks like there is at least 1, 2, 3 guys that are after these big time criminals like Penguin, like Two-Face, and now Riddler. And obviously Riddler's the next one being attacked. And sure enough, like it's almost like they hit the ground running with this issue. And sure enough, Riddler gets shot, stomped on, and then afterwards, it looks like he's just shot right at his face. And then all you see, after that panel where there's the gun pointed right to his face, then it just goes blam, and you see almost like what the panel looks like is just teeth flying everywhere. And I was like, well, that's it for Riddler. He's done. But no, he's not. He just can't really talk. But he's taken away by ambulance and FBI, and then there's like a little bit of a discussion going back and forth as to where Riddler should go. Should he be going to Arkham Asylum, or should he be going to Gotham General? And there's this big debate, like, if he goes to Asylum, will he be safe? Or if he goes to Gotham General, then he's kind of being exposed. Anyway, it is a back and forth between the FBI and Jim. It almost looks like it's like a power struggle. Like Jim's looking at the gun, which is that .22 caliber, and then you have the FBI behind him just saying, "I'll take that." And they're pointing the finger at him, telling him, like, you know what? Like, we're going to decide where he's going to go. And then it's something like, even like, the FBI is well aware that Jim is working with Batman, and kind of pointing to his face and saying, you'd love for us to just delay so you can have Batman just show up and question Riddler, wouldn't you? right? So they're kind of ordering everyone else, saying, get that freak to Arkham, referring to Riddler now. But little do they know, they got the dynamic duo on what looks like Christmas time. I mean, seems like there's some lights going on. And Robin just kind of hanging off on the truck and following this, what is it, GCFD ambulance. So Batman throws in some sort of, it's like a sleeping gas into to the ambulance, where obviously they pull over safely. The ambulance is stopped so they can all talk to Riddler. Now, Riddler's hands are completely broken, so he can't write. And then there's a bullet through his cheek, so his jaw's going to be wired for a month. But then he starts blinking, and I thought that this was pretty clever. Like, Riddler's incorporating Morse code, which, Robin or Dick Grayson's becoming quite the little detective because he's learning quite a bit from Alfred. And they're just trying to, I guess, decode as to what exactly Riddler is saying. And one of the riddles was, when is a car accident not a car accident? And then, obviously, the best detective of them all, Batman, answers, when there is no dent. Beautiful. And anyway, I thought that was actually a pretty interesting little bit of dialogue where, you're incorporating Riddler with some Morse code. And actually, the 2-page spread is just brilliant because you got what looks like Riddler blinking, and it's all puzzles as around the border or around the pages. And it's just close eye, open eye, close eye, open eye. Excuse me. And right away, Robin's able to kind of pick it up. And you know what? I thought that, if I had to choose probably a favorite panel, I thought that was pretty clever as to the way that page was even my favorite part, really. Like, I thought that was so clever. Now, Batman's still treating Robin like a young boy, and rightfully so. This kid's still young, still not fully trained, and Batman's basically telling him, listen, you have to stay away from Arkham, stay outside, and under no circumstances do you enter Arkham Asylum. Understood. And Alfred will go there and pick Robin up. And then, typical Dick Grayson fashion, he's obviously upset. He wants to have some fun, and he wants a seat at the big boy table where he's able to fight alongside Batman, but Batman's not letting him. And, right away, obviously, we know that Dick's not going to listen to Bruce and what he has to say. So Robin enters Arkham Asylum, and we get a nice little nod to Batman the Joker, where it has unknown identity. And then you have Joker just laughing through the wall. But Robin immediately goes to Julian Day, which is Calendar Man. And Calendar Man greets him like, oh, welcome back. And, not for anything, I can't remember a time where I've seen Calendar Man show up in an animated series. But I have seen him shown up in the Arkham Asylum games. And there's a lot of depth to his character. I find him very intriguing. In the sense of, he is basic. He does his killings on holidays, and I don't know, but here he is. He's almost playing like Hannibal Lecter kind of style, where he's the one that's behind the bars, and he's the one who's also where people are going to him for advice and trying to think of how to think like a killer. Robin still hanging on the words that Calendar Man said to him the issue before, where he said, like, you knew something I don't know. And then Calendar Man's like, come closer. And Robin, being a little bit naive, he's like, okay, but tell me what you know. And all of a sudden, Catwoman comes from behind, uses her whip to kind of pull Robin back and being like, listen, little birdie, don't go near him, right? It's time to play it safe. And you kind of see that Selina is on their side. Like, she knows better. And she doesn't want Robin to get hurt. And she's basically telling him, listen, I see this. Bruce is never going to forgive me. So you need to get out. And I love that Loeb kind of alludes to that little relationship that Bruce and Selina have where, Robin just kind of alludes to, like, Bruce is getting googly-eyed when Catwoman shows up, and she's just, like, enamored, like, googly-eyed, eh? Huh, cute. Anyway, so she warns him and tells Robin to get out, and then we kind of go, and can I just say something about the way Robin is? And the one thing that bothered me in the last issue was Robin had, like, long sleeves. And then we're right back at it where he's got his short sleeves, right? Like, I get it. Like, my excuse is, well, you know what? It's getting cold out. It's November, but now it's December. And Robin, listen, unless we create some dialogue, it doesn't matter. But I just like consistency. That's how I am. I don't know how you guys are, the viewer. Quick note, Mark Chiarello, the art that he does has a nice, gritty, atmospheric. It's a perfect complement to Tim Sale's artwork. In all honesty, like, talk about flowing so nicely between Mark Chiarello and Tim Sale's artwork. Just beautiful. Now we have Batman. I'll say it, and this is spoiler, pretty much a spoiler. So we have Batman go to Gilda's house. And sure enough, she's the one that's just freaking out. She's thinking, oh, is it Harvey that's home? Well, no. Got Batman there, and sure enough, she's the one that's holding on to James Gordon. So, got Jim Gordon's son being held captive by Gilda Dent. Where, I don't know. I found that to be a little anticlimactic. I do find one thing a little strange, though. Like, if I was held captive and I was a kid and I didn't see my parents for a couple months, I wouldn't be walking out of this dungeon with a big smile. I'd be probably freaked out, crying, and in disbelief, probably running to my father, my mother. But the way he looks like it, he looks like a child that's just possessed. He's got a nice little smile. Not even a tear going down the right side or the left side. None of it. He kind of just walks out happily, like nothing happened. So, I don't know. Just felt it was like a little anticlimactic. Anyway, but Batman finds James Gordon and gives him back to Jim, where Jim's obviously elated and just happy to finally get his son back. And then we have the ending where I did not see this happening. Now, keep in mind that this is taking place during Christmas time. Not sure exactly when. But we get a good look at the Romans' penthouse. So this is where the Falcone's house is. And we got Mario Falcone, who is the pretty much a legitimate son, but they use, Jeph Loeb writes, the supposed legitimate son of the Roman, and brother to Alberto Falcone, the original Holiday. So Batman immediately goes and attacks Mario Falcone. So, they have like a nice little duo going head to head, throwing punches, and then sure enough that there's a gun that comes out. It looks like a 22 caliber. And Batman just says, I spoke to Gilda Dent. And I should back up, because while Batman was confronting Gilda, he was going down the stairs, and the first word out of her mouth was, Mario? Like, is that you? And Batman's obviously confronting her, and she's got tears going down her eyes, saying, listen, you have no idea. They shot him. They took him away. And I don't know if he's dead or alive. And she's referring to Harvey Dent. And Batman's like, what? Like, they shot the child? She's like, no, my Apollo, Harvey. And so Batman's obviously concerned. She opens up this door, and out walks Jim Gordon's son. Now, fast forwarding, you got Batman who's confronting Mario Falcone, because those are the words that came out of her mouth, right? So they're having a nice little fist fight, and it's Batman who's basically like saying like, I spoke to Gilda, and he's basically telling her like do you realize that she's completely out of her mind? And him saying they set me up, the two of them. So now we're kind of having this back and forth, like the two of them. But like as readers, we know Harvey Dent got shot, but by who? Right? And as I'm flipping through here, got the nice Christmas tree set up. So Mario goes in response to Batman, like, do you think I'd have anything to do with them? The man who killed my father? And he reiterates that she's worse than he is. So Gilda worse than Harvey, which, you know what? I wouldn't put it past that. Like, in all honesty, like, I've always kind of thought, like, I feel like she's the wild card between the two. And I feel like she would be a big-time villain. Then, probably one of the last panels before this story ends, you see bang, and the panel just turns red. And you're like, well, what the heck happened? Who got shot? And then you see a full-page spread of Batman grabbing his heart with blood all over his hand. And Mario just saying, all this time you've kept the blind eye to the dents. But here's the thing. Mario Falcone has a .22 caliber in his hand, all wrapped up. And we're left, as readers, with just Batman holding onto his heart. No clue what's going to happen next. But you got Mario looking at Carmine and the mother, Falcone, and they finish off with a gun pointed directly to Batman's head, where Mario's saying, I am the good son. And that's how the story ends. And in all honesty, like, this was a constant page turner. Like, it took me so quick to read. I enjoyed it. They still, like, with Jeph Loeb, he's leaving little crumbs that continuously builds on the story, and we're left with hints as to where this might be going, but we still don't fully know. Like, initially I thought Mario Falcone might be the next holiday killer. I don't know what's to come. We're only in issue 3, right? Like, who are these mob guys that are dressing up, killing everybody, right, as all these villains and going after the villains? Like this Calendar Man, like, he's a kind of a reoccurring villain yet again. And it's like, what does he have to do with it? Right? Why does Mario Falcone have the .22 caliber in his hand? Is he the one that's going around killing people, leaving the gun behind? Right? Like, who knows? I like that we get nice sprinkles of Robin. I feel like the way he's used is, although sparingly, it builds on the story. It's perfect, right? Like, I don't want too much Robin in a story. I want to see more Batman. And Batman, as a character, is still trying to learn and manage how to have a sidekick and trust the sidekick. And then as a sidekick for Robin, he's still trying to learn, like, what are his boundaries? What can he do? And he's still got a lot of learning and growing up to do. He's got to listen to Batman, clearly, right? If he knows what's best for him. But I thought that Mark Chiarello, the way he drew this issue was just fantastic. Overall, I'd give this 9.5 out of 10. I think it is my favorite of the series thus far. The art was phenomenal. I thought that the way Jeph Loeb wrote this story was fantastic. The one thing that just kind of irked me was the anticlimactic part where Jim Gordon's getting his son back. But I feel like that there's more to it. I'm curious of what you guys think about that, because I have no idea. Like, I see a child that's been trapped up for at least 2 months. I'm not going to be walking like a zombie slowly, but with a big, huge smile. I'm going to be crying and smiling. I might be a little distraught, but I don't know. He seems to be completely altogether. I have no idea. The pacing of this issue was fantastic. Even like the little character development with Riddler using Morse code and then Robin picking up on it and learning from Alfred, right? Just as Pete Vera and Mr. Ryan Lauer, you can find them on the Batman Book Club. Pete Vera is always on Batman on Film with a lot of times with Jet, and he's also got a couple of his own podcasts straight out of Gotham and Italian Spider-Man Coalition. Oh man, those are beauties. Anyway, they always talk about a story with Alfred is always a good story, even if it's just mentioned. So Robin learning Morse code from Alfred, he still has a part in it. The visuals in this story was phenomenal. Like, it just still feels dark and atmospheric, while like still kind of, complimenting Tim Saro's artwork, right? To be honest, right, if I didn't know anybody and there was no names in the front, I would have probably been assuming, yeah, this might be Tim Sale, right? I don't think that they try to be Tim Sale. I think that they just try to, acknowledge the story and, kind of pay tribute to it with the utmost respect. But, and the storyline continues to build and scaffold on the previous issue. I'm very curious as to what comes next. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I love that I get to even participate now in this. I guess it's, the final run for Jeph Loeb on this long Halloween series. And continuously at the end, they always interview the artists, which I do enjoy. Now, which covers did I get? I got cover A, where it has like Batman in the blue. I thought that was pretty cool. But I also got another cover, and I was guilty. I was hooked totally by the one with the pumpkin and Batman kind of running through. Oh man, that's absolute beauty. I was kind of tempted to get the one with the villains at the front, but I didn't. I held off. I still want to stick to Tim Sale's art at the front, and I'm looking forward to next month's as well. But overall, man, again, just another banger of an issue. I've had a lot of fun reviewing this. Not sure what you guys think. I'm dying to hear your feedback. Feel free to email me, and I'll give you the email. It's in the episode description below, which you can check in the show notes as well. But that being said, and before we close out, I want to read some reviews from a couple of reviewers who have generously provided some personal time. Listen, I don't expect it, but I do appreciate if you leave a review, as it helps spread the word. So first and foremost, I'll say out loud, the reviewer, Precious 1964. They said, I knew Batman as a cartoon growing up, and then the movies came out. It didn't interest me much, but listening to this podcast as I stumbled onto it has ignited me to start watching the Batman movies. Having me see Batman and the characters in each movie so real and so relatable to people. I love fresh viewpoints that stimulate the mind in ways you wouldn't have considered. A must listen. Well, Precious 1964, thank you very much for that beautiful review. Another one from the Slickest Rick. Host Domenic Yanika shares interesting topics about everyone's favorite Caped Crusader. This podcast is a must listen for any Batman fan. Just when you think you know, I feel like every time you say, anyone says, just when I think about, they pull me back, and I think of Jerry Seinfeld. Anyway, just when you think that you know it all, there is to know about the Dark Knight. Domenic comes to bat with an interesting facts and stories that would even interest the most diehard fans to perk their ears up and say, oh, I didn't know that. Thoroughly enjoy listening. The Slickest Rick, thank you very much for that unbelievable review. Honestly, greatly appreciated. So feel free, please leave 5 stars, write a review. It takes a couple of minutes of your time. And follow, subscribe. I do have a YouTube channel, which is in the show notes as well. You can follow along on X/Twitter @BeyondBatSignal. My email is beyondthebatsignal@gmail.com. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, I am more than happy to answer it on this show. We have hit December, so I am recording on December 2nd. This is going to probably drop tomorrow, December 3rd. And the next episode is going to be a Christmas-themed episode. Can't wait to talk about it. Now, with that being said, that is it for today's episode. My name is Domenic. This is Beyond the Bat Signal, and we are signing off.